get started on the wheel. I know some of you might have some experience and some of you don't, and that's okay. We all start out in the same spot. Help each other as we go. If you are more comfortable than another person, we're going to start out with one pound of clay. So I just arbitrarily cut some blocks off, but over on the wedging table is a scale, so weigh it out. The reason I have you do 1 pound of clay is because you make mistakes really quickly, right? We're beginning throwing. So when you're making mistakes, we're going to make small mistakes. So 1 pound of clay, I can recycle that really quick. If you grab 2.5 pounds of clay, we'd go through a bag really quick if that's all you did. So one pound. We're going to shoot for a 5-inch cylinder. Okay? In order to do that, we have to use some tools, and we have to kind of understand what the clay wants us to do. I expect you to make lots and lots of mistakes. I expect you to not be perfect the first time, or the 7th, or the 30th.
Yeah.
Okay? I still make mistakes when I'm making pots. So don't feel bad about that. All right. So I've got some tools. I've got what they call a throwing knife here. I've got a rib. Okay, they're both made out of wood. I've got a sponge. And I've got another rib that's made out of a Bondo thing. So anyway, 1 pound of clay. We're going to start there. There are 6 steps to throwing a pot. Hey, can you do that on a different table? Just for now, so that, as I'm talking and videotaping, it's not like jumping around. Cool, thanks. 6 steps to throwing a pot. 1, center. 2, make a hole. 3, open the hole up. 4, compress the floor. 5, something we call a claw, or we call it a cone. And 6, lift. Okay? This is what it looks like. So 1 pound of clay, we make it into a ball. Do your best to put it on the center. Remember, we're throwing on tiles, not the full bat, but on these tiles with a holder. Get your wheel going fairly quickly. These wheels can go really fast. Don't make them go like super duper fast. It's not helpful. Make them go medium, a little faster than medium. That's about it. Okay? We're going to wet the clay. Push down with your hands. Make sure it's stuck. Step number 1 is centering. This is how I teach how to center. You take your left hand and you tuck it in, your elbow into your side, and you break your wrist like this, so it's like that. Then all I have to do is, because it's leaning in to my side like this, all I have to do is lean my body forward, and it'll start to center it right up. Okay? I'm not using my muscles. I'm just using my body. I can just push forward. Really simple. On my other hand, because I'm pushing in this way, the clay's coming up. My other hand, I've got to push the clay back down. So I'm just going to grab onto my thumb like this, and I'm going to use this part right here of my right hand to push down. I'm going to do both at the same time. Pushing in, pushing down. Slowly take my hands off, and it's centered. Okay? It should be really fast. You should be able to do this in seconds. It shouldn't take you a minute to do this. So again, tuck in, tuck your elbow in, you're pushing forward, and then pushing down at the same time. If you put your body over the top like this, slowly take your hands off, boom, you're centered. Okay? It really is that easy. If you find you've got your hands on it and your hands just keep doing this, your elbows are flying in the air. You want to tuck those down. Put them on your thighs. Okay? Put them down. So, one hand, push in. I'm just leaning my body and it starts to center up right away. Push back down. Boom. Okay? Second step says to make a hole. I've been teaching for a long time. I've been teaching adults how to make pots for a long time. And so almost with every step I have an analogy. So with this one, with making the hole, you make a butterfly with your hands, wingtips, touch, and then that's what you use to make the hole. Start in the center, and you just poke your fingertips in. Okay? Make sure you're adding plenty of water. You don't want your hands to be sticking on the clay. Now it says open the hole up. That's step number 3. Same hand position, butterfly, wingtips, fingers in, and I'm just going to lean my body back. If I just lean my body back, look, it just opens right up.
So this side?
Just that quick. Okay? You don't have to really... None of this so far have we really used our muscles. We've just used our body weight to kind of help with that. Okay? What's the next step? Compress. So as we're opening up, the bottom of the pot gets wavy, gets bumpy. Okay? And we got to push down on those. And I'm just slightly pushing down, like here's the bottom. I'm just pushing down like that, just a little bit, and I'm moving my finger from the center to the outside and then back. That's all I'm doing. Okay? Slow hand movements is the key. Also, having your hands touching is the key. If you don't, your two hands work independently and sometimes they fight. Okay? They work against each other. So you don't want that.
My old Bob.
What's the next one?
He's like a really good family friend of ours.
It says the claw or the cone, right? So I'm going to use a sponge. And I'm going to hold on to it with my 3 fingers like this on the outside. And I'm going to be pushing in from the outside at about 3 o'clock. And on my other hand is going to be on the inside of the pot, pushing out. So I'm going to compress between my 2 fingers. And as I lift, I'm going to slowly lift up, and I'm going to push harder with my outer hand so it cones up into the center like that. Okay? Cone. The reason we do that is because we have some physics things. Anybody ever heard of centrifugal force? Right? If it's spinning, it's going to want to go out, like swing out like those merry-go-round things that we all played on and grew up on. So if you cone, you go against that. So if you would try to go straight out, eventually the clay is going to open up anyway. So we cone it, okay? Now, so that you only do that one time. That's good. Lift. The lift is kind of like, I guess here's the analogy, bowling fingers, right? Left-handed bowling fingers, 2 in the middle, 1 out here, bowling fingers. And we're going to put the 2 on the inside, and I'm going to push out with my fingertips. That's what I say, if you have nails are going to be in trouble here. So push out with the fingertip, and then my outer hand is out here at 3 o'clock, and it's going to push under, like this. And my 2 hands are going to touch in some manner, and then I'm going to lift up. Okay? So it looks like this. Here's my 2 hands. There's the bump. So right here, what you see right here, that's where my inner fingers are. They're pushing that out. Does that make sense? Do you understand? Okay. Then in fact, I'll turn this way so you can see where my hands are. So my outer hand is underneath all that, and I'm holding, and I'm just walking up slowly, up the clay at the same time. And I slowly come off the top. Let everything back up. We're looking for 5 inches. So it might take us a little bit to get to that. Take your time. So, you see how the clay is starting to open up here? It's starting to kind of come out like that. We can fix that or bring it back in. Just got to wet the clay, and then we do what's called collaring or choking it in. Okay. You have to be kind of careful when you do that too, because once the clay is stretched out, it does not like to go back in. It will go out all you want until it just can't support itself. But coming back in, no, it gets angry about that. Okay. So you see, I'm wetting both sides, but I have my fingers in a V like this, and I throw the water there, and it just goes down. So it kind of does everything. Is that 5 inches, you think? Let's find out. So here's a ruler. Oh, we're at almost 6. Okay, I'm an overachiever. All right, so we could stop here. We could call this a 5-inch cylinder, a 6-inch cylinder. But I don't want you to. I don't want you to stop here. I want you to finish this off. So what does that mean? If you look on the bottom here, there's because your fingers are round, there's a little bit of a skirt, what they call a skirt, or that little radius. You want to get rid of that, okay? So I'm going to slowly start my wheel up. That's where this throwing stick comes into play. Whenever you have a wooden tool, also, make sure that you wet it, okay? You need to kind of lubricate it, I guess. I'm going to go like this with it. So we have a knife edge. I'll put that against the pot. And I cut straight down until I hit the tile. And then I could use a needle tool, or I could just hold onto it firmly and pull all that clay right off. Right? So we're still not done yet. I want to smooth it out. Away. And then I want to do what's called undercutting. And that's where I'm going to put the tool in like this. So this is coming down on the tile, and I'm going to put the tool in that way. Okay? That undercut is going to help when we wire it off, but it's also kind of starting the finish of my cylinder. Because we have that little lip there, if I leave that little lip, it's going to help me later on when I glaze. It could actually stop glaze from running off my pot. 2, it gives me a little section that when I wax, for when I'm glazing, that I know that none of the glaze, I'm not going to put glaze there because it's already going to be blocked off. And 2, when I wire off, it's going to help kind of keep the wire, or that's 3, I guess. It's going to keep the wire from bumping up. But we're talking about surface development, right? So what I want you to do is, if you get to this point, you guys think like, yay, that's a good thing, okay? But we don't want to stop there. We want to keep going. We want to make sure that we can make an interesting pot. So what I'm going to do to start with, though, is I'm going to use this wooden rib, and I'm going to clean up the sides. When you throw on the wheel, you leave what's called throwing marks or throwing lines. And those are nice, but they're accidental. So when we do our own designs on our pots, we want to be intentional, okay? Not accidental. Chamois, we have a whole bunch of them, and they are used to soften up the rim so that when we drink out of our cup, we don't cut our lips off. A sponge on a stick, you can use it if we have some over there, or you can just use your regular sponge like that. Push that in there, get all the water out from inside. Some more. That looks good. Okay, we could call that one done. That would be our first one. Let's take a look at it. So I'm going to wire it off gently. All right. So now we look at the walls. We have a fairly straight cylinder wall, tapered at the bottom, a little bit thicker at the bottom and thinner towards the top. Okay? So that's kind of where, that's our goal. That's a good goal. In the pug mill room is a bucket that has clay in it. When you make mistakes, and you will, all of your clay goes into that bucket so that I can recycle it. Okay? I can put it back in the bucket. All right, so let's do it again. What's the first step? Center. Push down first, make sure it's stuck. Remember, tuck your elbow, left hand, push in. I'm pushing in towards the center, and I'm pushing down with my right hand. It starts to feel like it's getting sticky. I'm going to add some water to it. Also, when you're adding water, add water to your hand. So I'm holding my hand here. I'm going to add water to it, and then that water, or that hand kind of cups the water and puts it where I want it to go. If you're dripping your water like this, you have no idea where that water is going, so it's really not doing any good. Okay? Be intentional. Be intentional with your hand movements. So pressing in, pressing down. Make a hole, right? That's number 2. Butterfly, wingtips. Press in. Now, only one of my fingertips is really doing the work. The other one is supporting the other one, helping it do its job. Some people would want to use your thumbs, and that's okay if you use your thumbs. There's nothing wrong with that. Just be careful to make sure that you're on center. Okay, don't let your hands start moving and get off the center that way. All right. So now, what's the third step? Open it up. So same fingertip movements. Leaning my body back, opening up. Now a smart person would say, well, Mr. Boland, how big do we open it up to? Right? A smart person would say that.
How much would you open it up?
All right. So you have these round sponges. That's a good size. Okay? Just to that. That's pretty simple. Okay? What's the next step?
Compress.
Compress. Compress the floor. Nice and slow. If you're in here and you're putting your fingers like this, it's not doing anything. You're just wasting your energy. Okay? You're not you can't be consistent. So push down gently and then slowly go to the outside. Slowly back. All right? What's the next step?
Lift. Claw.
Claw. Claw or cone. So I would encourage you to just do the cone. And that's, again, sponge, 3 fingers, pushing in towards my fingers on the inside of the pot, lifting up and to the center. Nice and slow. You can get a lot of lift this way. That's pretty good. I'm going to do something also, it's not on the list, but whenever I do a lift where I'm moving the clay up, I compress the rim. Okay? And all I do is put my thumb and forefinger on the inside, or like this, so I'm just kind of grabbing, just kind of lightly, and then I push down on the rim. Okay? It's just taking whatever particles that might have opened up on the rim and compressing them down so they're going to be stronger. Okay. Now what?
Lift.
Lift. So here we go again. 2 fingers on the inside, bowling fingers. We're going to put another finger on the outside, directly below it. We're going to make a bump, and then we're going to lift that bump up. And then slow down at the top. Compress. Okay, do it again. The water. Push down. Now my thumb can't go all the way, so I'm going to bring my other hand to it. So you could do thumb to thumb like this, that's fine. I just like to do this because then as my hands come up and I can bring my other hand, like they just kind of work together that way. You do what you want. Gently come up. Choke it in if you want. I'm not going to talk to you today about like throwing problems, like what happens when your clay does one thing or another. What I am going to do is I'm going to teach you these steps today. Like I'm going to be done here real quick. I'm going to want you guys to all go on the wheel. But then, if this is your first time experiencing clay, I want you to just destroy the clay. Okay, like take it, work it until it just like it doesn't work anymore. All right. The reason I do that is so that you can understand how much this clay will take. Okay, and you learn something about destroying things. It's okay, right? So destroy the way. Just go like crazy. All right. If you can get a nice pot out of it, fantastic. But if not, just beat the heck out of it, okay? Okay, here's our cleaning up underneath, doing a little undercut. Now my wheel speed is going kind of fast, so I'm going to slow it down. The thinner your clay is, if your wheel speed is going really fast, it's going to want to open up. It's going to want to rip apart. Alright? So slow it down. Chamois your rim. Get the water out from inside. So this is a simple cylinder, right? We could play around with it a little bit if we wanted to. Here, let's do this. Let's try this. So I'm just putting my two fingers like this on the inside, and I'm going to put my outer finger kind of in the middle, and I'm going to walk up. And I'll walk up faster than the wheel is spinning. So that's pretty easy, right? That's an easy surface embellishment. That's what we're looking for, something like that. Press the rim. Okay. When you're done, we have some wire tools up there. Make sure you wire them off. Wire your pot off of the tile. Push away from you. We have a tendency, our body, if we're pulling towards our body, we have a tendency to lift up. Okay? So if you push away, you stay more on a straight level. If you lift up, maybe cut part of your pot off. You don't want to do that. Grab a screwdriver. On the center of these have a notch. Lift that up, and then that can go into your cubby. Here's the thing. If you have one that's like 5 inches tall, and you leave it for tomorrow, and you leave it uncovered for tomorrow, it will be dry. There's nothing we can do. We can't add a handle to it then. All we can do is call it maybe one of your two that don't have handles. Sand the bottom up a little bit, put your name on it, put it on the cart. Okay? If you want to make sure that you put a handle on it, that you can put a handle on it, let it sit for a little bit, but then you have to put some plastic over the top. Okay, plastic bag. You don't want to smoosh it, you just want to create a bubble. But, okay? In the blue bins, in between the two tables, they're not garbage cans, they're plastic cans. Okay, so Extra plastic bags are in there. Questions at this point? All right, so I want you to jump on the wheel and get started. Make some 1 pound balls, but make several of them, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Well, may I ask how this is used?
Huh?